It's time to take command with former NFL tight end Logan Paulsen and former Commanders beat reporter Craig Hoffman.
Take 5 from Take Command. That's Logan Paulsen. I am Craig Hoffman. And Logan, it's time to time travel. Because as we were recording the podcast, which, chronologically we just finished, but is going to come out on everybody's feeds tomorrow, we stumbled across a fun Peyton Manning story that you wanted to tell. And I, for one, love Peyton Manning football stories.
So it's a little bit of insight on how they did their offense when he was in Denver. So basically the coordinator that was in Denver came and was a coordinator in Chicago the year or two before I got there. He had just been fired.
Yeah,
Gase. And so you said, the whole offense is code worded, and a lot of people think that's being hyperbolic. Literally every word in the offense had a code word. So when you got to Chicago, it was still the same. They were trying to keep the same offensive terminology, and they had all of the old stuff that was there. And so let's take a run, for example. So let's say we want to run inside zone. You got the formation, which would, let's say it's solo right, 12 F wham, right? Let's just say something like that, or F sift. So that's easy. But for him, you'd have to remember that 12 is actually Bronco, because Bronco has an R in it and it's to the right. And so the direction of the run is to the right. And if I wanted you to flash block, I would call it flash. So it would be Bronco flash. And I could do that at the line of scrimmage. So I thought that was being a little bit silly. You know what I mean? That every word is code worded. But I saw the sheet of paper. So they had a regular call sheet, which the people hold over their mouths, whatever. And then they had an additional sheet that had every code word for every play that was on the thing. So you had to learn two offenses. And so learning that offense in Chicago was nightmarish, because they would install it as tight zone is 12, but it's actually Bronco and Buffalo. And then if we got a flash on it, it's Bronco, Buffalo, flash. And then it was Hallis, and just every single thing was code worded. And people were like, how did you learn the offense? And I was like, I literally would stay up with flashcards all night and just be these are, and it was just, there was no
because you got to Chicago after you got let go here.
Yes.
So you didn't have the offseason and training camp. You had to learn this in between the end of preseason and week 1.
So I got there, and I remember we were doing a walkthrough, or no, it was practice on Thursday. So I got there on a Monday. We were doing practice on Thursday, and I told one of the receivers to get off the ball. The formation was incorrect, because again, the formations were also code worded as well. So it's literally just straight memorization, straight. There was no little tricks. It was you just had to and they were how did you learn that? And I was I've literally been up every night studying these silly flashcards. And I talked to Will Montgomery. You know Will Montgomery?
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah, former center here, also played a couple other places.
So he was the center in Denver with
Peyton.
And I was dude, it can't have been like that. He's no, it wasn't exactly like that. He would kind of give you a package each week of 20 or 30 words that you would have to be really dialed in on. But he was he would also just go Tourette's mode and just say something that wasn't on the sheet he gave you. So you had to memorize stuff from months ago. Because he might be I really like it this week. And he would do it in the cadence, he said. It wasn't this really obvious thing. It'd be white 80, Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo. It's oh, and so before you could even get I can't imagine playing with that type of mental demand from all positions. And I think that's one of the reasons why everyone in Buffalo was so smart, because you had this tremendous demand every single time he was taking a snap. That was what's going on.
He would just, it literally was like Madden, where you could just change the formation audible, the entire thing. My question would be then, if everything's going to be code worded, why not just make that the call in the huddle too?
So what they would do, from what I understand, is that the coach on the sideline would basically be hey man, I like outside zone here, and I like 5-step drop to the field or whatever, and kind of just give general thing. Peyton would be all right, we're on the dummy, and he would go through a dummy cadence and then call either outside zone to the right or quick game to the field based on the code words. And so to your question, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I think because from an offense, when you're ruling it out, when you're ruling your offense, it's good to have categories of stuff. But yeah, I was like, man, we should just call it this other thing. Like, if we're not going to use these
if we're going to have all these like formation, play, motion, your typical West Coast style or any offense style play call, and you have this whole other set of words, just make the other set of words the offense.
Yeah, but I think they wanted to insulate from what I understand, they wanted to insulate the code words. And that was the other thing. The code words with Peyton, with us too, they would change every couple of weeks. So you'd have to learn new words. Like, it was just like the amount of learning with that offense was and just straight memorization was crazy.
Maybe that's why Adam Gase didn't work out once he didn't have Peyton Manning anymore.
I bet, man. Like, and again, you need a very smart football. Like, I was there. I told you I got there on a Monday or whatever. I must have got there on a Friday, and I had the weekend to learn, and it was a Thursday, and I knew the offense better than like 80% of the guys that were there. No, probably 90%. Like, there were guys who didn't know anything, and they'd been there the whole offseason. Like, how do you know all this stuff? And I'm like, I just literally studied it. Like, that's all I did. Like, nothing, no magic formula here.
It's not great reflection of, anyone, frankly, except for you. Good job, Logan.
Well, I mean, it's also like you had a new offensive coordinator who was teaching the old offensive terminology in their offense. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it was like a West Coast guy taking Gates's terminology and applying it to his stuff, and they thought it would make everybody like understand it better. I can tell you right now, that's not what happened. So
that is not how that worked. All right, that's there's so many great Peyton stories from his time in the league. I remember reading a feature piece on.
I got another one. Do you want to hear another one? This is kind of mean, actually. Do you want to hear it? It's funny though.
Yeah, let's go quick on it.
Okay, so this one is really funny. Like, I was with a guy. My college tight end coach was the quality control guy in Denver while he was there, and it was like a couple days before the final cuts. And so, you got like, it was like maybe a week, 2 weeks before the final cuts. And there's like, there's everybody's in there. 90 guys are in there. The offensive guys, there's probably 45 or whatever. And he said, Peyton got up in the meeting and he looks around the room and he says, you, and calls out like probably 20 guys, leave the room right now. And so everyone like kind of looks around, grabs their stuff, leaves. And then he kind of sits down with the clicker in his hand and pulls up their week 1 opponent and goes, all right, now that everyone who's going to be cut's gone, now we can start actually getting ready for week 1. And I was like, savage, bro. Savage.
Yikes. That is funny, but also kind of the silly thing that happens at the end of training camp every year. It's like, let's invest a bunch of time in guys that aren't going to be here. So I get it. I actually respect Peyton for that. All right, there's some Peyton Manning stories on Take 5. We'll be back tomorrow with a full film breakdown. See you then. Thanks for watching this clip of Take Command. First, why don't you like it? It lets other people know that it was good, and then they should watch it too. And Logan, we have a new exclusive home for full episodes.
We do. 1067 The Fans YouTube page. Go check it out and please subscribe.
Yeah, do what Logan said.
Do it.
Very, very smart.